Morning, everyone. Thank you for coming for this special meeting. Notice is hereby given of a special board meeting of the Board of Education of the Town of Westfield in the County of Union, New Jersey at 8 a.m. on the morning of Thursday, July 18, 2019, in the boardroom of the Administration Building, 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey. The purpose of the meeting is to transact the regular business of the board and to transact any other business to come properly before the board. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act, the Westfield School Board on Thursday, July 11, 2019, caused to be posted at the office of the Board of Education, located at 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey, and delivered to the Westfield Leader, the Star Ledger, the Westfield Library, Town Clerk of Westfield, Tap into Westfield, and Patch.com. A meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting. Dana, can we have a roll call?
Michael Beelan.
Here.
Kent Diamond.
Here.
Brendan Kelly. Robert Garrison.
Here.
Brian Morrissey.
Here.
Gretchen Oleg. Here. Tara Porto. Here. Peggy Astor.
Here.
Amy Root.
Here.
I'm going to lead us in a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe the only announcement we have today is to let the public know that our next Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 27th at 7:30 p.m. at 302 Elm Street. The complete agenda of the meeting will be available on Friday, August 23rd, under the Board tab on the district website and in the business office at 302 Elm Street. At this time, I'd like to recognize the public for any agenda items only. Seeing nobody come forth to the podium, we'll move on to minutes. I'd like the board to approve the minutes of the board meeting held on June 25th, 2019. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstaining.
And Rob is abstaining. Okay, I'm going to turn over to you for personnel items.
Okay, I would like the board to consider items 1 through 15. Could I have a second? Thanks, Kent. Dr. Dillon, I believe you have at least one item you'd like to talk about.
I do. Actually, I'd like to speak to personnel item number 13. This morning, I'm very pleased to recommend to the board the approval of Brian Geckman as the principal of Roosevelt Intermediate School. In two strong interviews held by a committee representing all the stakeholders in the district, in the community of Roosevelt, Brian showed an impressive depth of knowledge of middle school students, social and emotional learning, and instructional practice. His passion for character education in every facet of a middle school student's education and his strong support of special needs students set him apart from many other qualified candidates. He spoke with conviction about the effectiveness of advisory groups in Roosevelt, which provide students a supportive environment to learn and grow. The committee also saw Brian's dedication and commitment to the Roosevelt community in every answer that he gave. In conversations with Mary Svendis, his former supervisor, and other members of the Roosevelt staff, it was clear that Brian is deeply respected and trusted. Each person interviewed indicated that Brian is profoundly invested in Roosevelt and all of Roosevelt's students. So I'm very pleased to submit that recommendation to the board.
Do we need a vote?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Mike Beelan.
Yes.
Kent Diamond.
Yes.
Robert Garrison.
Yes.
Brian Morrissey.
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg.
Yes.
Tara Porto.
Yes.
Peggy Astor.
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I just wanted to first thank everybody for coming together and putting this committee together. I've had the opportunity to work a little bit with Mr. Geckman, and I'm excited to see the future of Roosevelt. I think you bring a lot to the table, and we're very fortunate to have you, and so are your students. So good luck, and I think your starting day is just around the corner. So no rest for you. So, thank you. when you finish, you can take a shower.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Dolan and members of the Board of Education for your support. I'd also like to show my appreciation for the committee that met with me the last few weeks. It is an honor standing in front of all of you as the new principal of Roosevelt Intermediate School. As I reflected on what I was going to say this morning, I came across the staff profiles from 2012-2013, my first year as an assistant principal in Westfield. That committee, led by Mr. Carey and Ms. Ball, saw something in me, and I am forever grateful. Although moving on from my 12-year teaching position in a school I once not only attended, but now worked at, was scary, I had the strong support of my family and the way in which I felt welcomed and valued in Westfield. I knew this was a special place. In that first year, my goal was simple: to learn and understand what makes Westfield this magical, amazing place. I learned our students' names and their hobbies. I engaged in conversations with our staff, and I learned about them and from them. In addition, I worked with our community members and stakeholders to ensure the importance of our partnership. Reflecting on my 7 years and what I truly believe is the greatest school in the greatest school system, I am so proud to represent this district. Every opportunity I get, you will hear me say there's no place I'd rather be. I have a rich background of working with and learning from some amazing people. As previously mentioned, Mr. Carey, for allowing me to grow early in my career. And most recently, Mrs. Fendich, for 2 amazing years. Our shared vision and collaboration made our work easy. As I prepare to be the next principal at Roosevelt School, I look forward to the administration and teachers continuing our rich conversations and amazing collaborations with our colleagues at Edison Intermediate, as all of our students share similar experiences throughout their middle school years. Having a strong relationship with Dr. Bolton, who has been a great help since year 1, and Ms. Marsh, will allow me to ensure a smooth transition. I also look forward to continuing the district's goal of social emotional learning. Infusing these lifelong lessons into our daily curriculum, as well as our advisory program, will allow our students to prepare for all future challenges. As I look around the room, I am thankful for my administrative colleagues, and I look forward to continuing our great relationships. I am also grateful for my family. My wife, Kristen, who has always supported me, and earlier this month we celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary. In addition, our 3 wonderful children, Jake, Chase, and Jackson, who's being so quiet. You've taught me more than you can ever imagine. As stated in the aforementioned 2012-2013 new staff profiles, Jake and Chase, and now plus the addition of Jackson, you are my biggest joys. I thank all of you, and I'm so appreciative of this opportunity. Thank you very much.
I think we have a couple things to celebrate with some of your colleagues, but since the meeting only has about 2 more minutes, let's finish the meeting and then we can go and socialize. I'd like the board to consider items 1 to 6 in finance.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call out a couple of gifts that we've received over the summer. I'd like to accept a gift of $1,000 from Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton to purchase new equipment and provide extra support for the orchestra program at Roosevelt Intermediate School. I'd also like to accept a gift of $500 from Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton to purchase new amps and any necessary equipment to support Ramble and Jazz Band at Roosevelt Intermediate School. Also, I'd like to accept a gift of 2 fans for the Wilson School Gymnasium from the Wilson School PTO, valued at $1,220. And lastly, we'd like to accept a gift of $9,847.19 from the Jefferson School PTO for the purpose of purchasing a set of 6 swings for the school playground on Boulevard. Thank you both to the Hamiltons, the Wilson School PTO, and the Jefferson School PTO. As I said, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of things in our district without the help of our PTOs and parents and so forth. So thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to vote.
Michael Beelan,
Yes.
Ken Diamond,
Yes.
Robert Garrison,
Yes.
Brian Morrissey,
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg,
Yes.
Tara Porto.
Yes.
Peggy Astor.
Yes.
Amy Ruth.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on too fast in the summer. At this time, I'd like to recognize the public for questions or comments. Seeing nobody come to the podium, we'll move on to, the board will go into private session, and I'd like you to approve the,
I'm sorry, since we're all together, and I don't want to delay the celebration, but could I ask for just a quick facilities update
Sure.
on all the projects, Dana?
Sure. So Kaler Stadium, we were ahead of schedule. We're no longer ahead of schedule. The weather the rain has caused a little bit of a delay. Nothing major, we don't think. But the problem is that on the track, if you've driven by, the turf is all down. The track, they have to pour the asphalt and then let that cure for about 28 days, and that's been the delay. They haven't been able to do that because of rain. So actually they were supposed to do that yesterday, and I don't know if that happened or not. So that's a little bit of a delay, but otherwise we're on track and so to speak. And it looks great. So if you haven't been out there, it looks amazing. TV studio is well underway and moving along. That's not going to be done for school. It never was planned to be done for the opening of school, so we're good with that. The door project is underway, also not going to be done before school. They're going to have to work after hours when school starts, but that's been the plan all along. The generators, we should be in good shape for school opening. We're moving along with all of those. We're starting to turn them on and see how they work. So we're getting close with that project. The bathrooms and the lobbies, we're also well underway, and the work, I'm not sure if that work is going to be 100% done for school opening either, but any work they have to do will happen after school hours. A project that we didn't expect to be a big project that has turned into a big project is the floor at McKinley. We were basically sanding it, picking up pieces of it and replacing pieces of it that had been damaged with the steam leak that we had, and just years, the floor's over 100 years old. And when we picked it up, we found moisture underneath. So we now have a much bigger project. I don't know yet the extent of that project. We're still trying to figure that out. The contractors have been there. We've been meeting with a consultant. So we're on top of it, but we're not yet sure how big of a project it is, and what we're going to replace the floor with, which will also impact the timeline of that. So I'll keep you posted, but that's kind of still up in the air. Thankfully, this was a project we had originally planned to do in August because it was we thought a small project. Thankfully, we did it as soon as school ended. So we have a little time, but that turned into a major project that wasn't planned.
We figured out the source of the water, or we're still?
Nope.
Was it just moisture, or was there any mold issue?
There was mold underneath. There was no mold issue as far as when people were in the building. It was once we pulled it up is when it became an issue. So when it was contained, it was not an issue. So that's part of what we're remediating and going forward. We have to determine the source of the water before we can determine what else to do.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
just as an aside, are the generators, because the one outside of Edison is very large, is it getting fencer with it or?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't,
Yes,
I
it
guess
is.
I wasn't expecting something so large.
Neither was Matt.
Okay, any other questions? No? So I'd like the board to approve the following resolution. Resolve that the Board of Education move into private session for the purpose of discussing matters rendered confidential by state and federal law, legal matters, and be it further resolved that any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential, and the results of the discussion will be made public as soon as practical. We're adjourned.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.